Well, my friends, I still have my camera set up from last night's live stream with Forest by Light and Grey Paladin. So I figured what I would do is I'd use this opportunity to do a review of the Dark Saber version 4. And this is from Dark Wolf Sabers. I actually purchased mine secondhand on eBay, and it was a good sale. It has the standard RGB-X soundboard. It doesn't have the version 3. I don't have a version 3 yet, but I think I'm gonna order 2 of those to go into my my Darth Maul. Well, you can't see it, but I have a Darth Maul hilt back there, which both soundboards died on that quite some time ago. But let's get some in close-up views of this, and we'll go from there. Focusing on the emitter, you can see we have 4 windows here on each side, and on either side they have a pair of blade retention screws, and the blade retention screws really secure this. As far as I know, it's a polycarbonate blade. I have gone to the LGT website and Dark Wolf Sabers, and they seem to imply that this blade is indeed polycarbonate as opposed to acrylic. Now, on my other Dark Saber, one of my older versions, a v-2 from the patch store, I had an acrylic blade which had a very thin connection, and that has recently broke, so that is no good. But you can see we still have the 4 windows on this side, and I'm not sure what, everything that's going on in here is just sort of like the LEDs and the connections. These very large screw holes, I don't necessarily know what they hold into place. You can get a good look at the Suba, and there's a lot of detail in here. I definitely prefer the Suba design on this one more so than on any of the other versions of this iteration of the Dark Saber that I've seen. It seems to have the most detail. Let's see. Most design elements, the shape of it, because it's rounded on the bottom and it's rounded here and all the corners are rounded. It's the most comfortable in the hand. Might not be the most accurate, but to me, it's one of the nicest emitter sets on a Dark Saber. The geometry on the grip section is quite nice. It's oval shaped, and you have your geometric patterns which are characteristic of the Dark Saber. For the switch, you just have this one, I believe it's a momentary switch, and a little bit of a grippy section to give you your tactile feel for locating this momentary switch on the hilt, which is really nice. So there is no LEDs visible in the switch to allow you to time out when you're making adjustments to the soundboard. And again, this does have just the standard RGB-X soundboard, so you just have to count in your head. And the grip continues onto this side, obviously. Looks very much the same. On this side, you have your venting for the speaker. And I'm not exactly sure what the size of the speaker is because I haven't gone in there to take a look at it. I can't imagine it's larger than 24 millimeter. It looks fairly small, but it's reasonably loud. They do not put it into the pommel because the pommel is an enclosed area that contains the USB recharge port, which I will show you in just a moment. But you can see the bottom side, and we'll show you one more of the left-hand side and get in real close. Again, nothing is sharp, nothing is poorly made. There's no burrs, there's nothing for your hand to get injured on. It's just smooth sailing all the way, and a very nicely designed grip section. It may seem a little short, and that's only one of the shortcomings, but it works perfectly well. Now, for the pommel, we're going to change angles here. And you can just take a look at it. You have one retention screw that holds this into place, so let's take that out. With all of these LGT screws, you want to be as careful as possible so as not to strip the screw head. The Allen key can slip inside that screw and kind of strip the inside of the head, which is sort of a really annoying proposition, you know, for removing the screw and inserting it in the future. So, and this just slides out. You can see it has a little hole right there. No hole, so you know how it goes in. So that's your pommel cap. And here is your recharge port. So it's a USB-C variety. And the Saber does come with a cable, so you can connect it to you know, either device like your PC, or if you have an adapter, you can connect it to, you know, a wall adapter to recharge it. It does give you audible cues as to when, you know, it's starting to charge to when it's fully charged, which is very nice. And yeah, very nicely done. I do like when they do the pommels like this. Most of the replicas that I have from my Luke LGT to I have at least one other, I can't remember what it is, but it has kind of a similar similar setup, and it's very nice. So here you can see this just kind of slides in like that, and then you get the hole aligned. It's a little bit awkward, the screw's small. Okay, get that in there. Good. Come on now. I'm not very coordinated this morning. Or any other morning, really. Alright, so the screw, there we go, that's tight enough. The screw does recess into the area here, so it's nice and flush, so you won't be catching yourself on that. Again, very nicely designed. And you'd think that this part would kind of flare out a little bit. No, it's held securely in here. It's not moving around, so again, very nicely designed and well executed. From the tip of the blade to the emitter, and I'm using the farthest corner of the emitter, which will be right here, is 30¼ inches. Now, this being the regular polycarbonate blade, it's painted. Eventually, you will see Newtype Sith's review. He has a Neopixel blade with a Xenopixel core, and the blade has more of a you know, design element. I don't know if it's paint on the edge all the way down the end, kind of like the edge of a katana. And it does not have these painted elements. I'm not sure if it has the black paint on the side. This is more of a matte dark gray finish rather than a solid black, because they want it to allow some of the light to come through. Now, this is obviously a well lit room, but I will turn this on. You can kind of get a sense of how the light works. I'm going to do that. It starts off very bright, and it does get consistently darker as it travels down the blade. And that is to happen with a design of this style. I will, of course, show you a nighttime demo of this so you can see how it really looks. But this is not going to be as bright as a Neopixel version. And I just want to show you this, the windows. The windows are not the best show in town, but it kind of is what it is. The hilt itself is about 12 5/8 from this corner all the way to the end here. And as far as the blade depth, the blade does pretty much go, I think, to about here, if I'm not mistaken. Because the LEDs kind of occupy these first two windows, and then from here on out you don't see any LEDs, so I think the blade goes in that deep. But like I said, it's secured by the two screws on each side, so it is firmly in there. And yeah, you can see the beveled edge. You can see the beveled edge of the blade through the first two windows, so I'd say you probably have a good 2 to 3, possibly 3.5 inches on the far end of clearance. And the blade, there's no wobble. It's in there nice and firm, so that's something that you definitely will not have to worry about with this Dark Saber. Let's see what volume I have this on. I'm not sure if it's on the loudest.
Volume low. Mute. Volume high.
Okay, so it is on high volume. Now you also have the different blade styles. You have the stable blade, pulse, and you also have an unstable blade. I currently have this on pulse. As you can see, the lighting starts here, kind of starts to fade out around here. So this blade is not really conducive to being lit from one end to the other. So that's something you'll have to learn to live with. And it is what it is. You can hear it. The blade is on the heavy side. And when you're handling it, your hand does tend to cover the vents, so that will mute it somewhat. But the blade is not so heavy that you really, yeah, I mean, it's not too much of a hindrance swinging around. It's just something you'll have to get used to, just like the real Dark Saber. And we'll do the color changing, if I can get it to work. Which I can't. There we go. I think I'll lock it in at red. There we go. The red actually performs a little bit better than the white does. The white doesn't travel up the blade that well. Alright, so that pretty much shows you what you need to be shown. Now, the one thing to note is, because the main switch is not recessed into the hilt, you will tend to hit this occasionally as you're swinging the saber. So there's a couple things going on. Like I said, you've got the venting right here, which can be muffled by your hand, and then you have the switch right here, which you can occasionally hit and activate certain features. So it isn't really a saber designed for flow due to the weight of the blade and just the way it's designed. Plus, I don't know if you want to be swinging this around with too much wild abandon. I mean, I'm sure that this blade is plenty durable. But one good hit, and who knows what might happen. It may crack, and then you're kind of in a situation. But as you can see, your hand does take up most of the hilt, and you're just kind of holding onto it like a katana, supporting it from the bottom. Or you can put your finger on the other end of the tsuba, if you prefer, which is actually a pretty good way to control this blade. The only thing is you're going to be hitting your finger on the inside of this thing, and it's very uncomfortable because it's sort of a natural choke slash pinch point right there, and it's not the most comfortable thing. But I mean, the Dark Saber is sort of being a replica. It's another one of those another one of those sabers that you don't necessarily want to use for dueling or flow. It's more of a shelf queen. You can swing this around. You could probably duel with it to some degree. But it's generally more designed to just look really cool and be a nice little addition to your collection. And it definitely is. It does this job very well. So for an LGT product, I really think that this thing is a solid piece. I've compared it to a lot of the more expensive versions. I consider this. This is a true replica. Unlike, well, let's start with Ultra Sabers. Ultra Sabers, their version is completely off the mark. It's almost like a super distorted version of the Dark Saber. And then you have Electrum Sabercrafts. That's sort of like a futuristic version. So, I mean, the Ebon Razor is. I would not mind owning one of those to contrast this, because, like I said, it's a stylized, almost futuristic, which is silly in retrospect when you're calling something a futuristic version of a science fiction futuristic weapon. But it is what it is. But some of the more elaborate versions, I believe that KR Sabers, no, Korbanth definitely has one, maybe Kaizen, all these high-end versions. I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit more forgiving when it comes to my sabers, and I find that this version is accurate enough for me. It's solidly built. There's no flaws with it, other than the fact that it's very proprietary as far as the blade goes. I mean, you cannot swap out any other blades for this. If something does happen to this blade, you'd probably be required to go to LGT to replace the blade, because it's very specific. This blade goes into this specific hilt, and there's no way around it. You can't really use anything else, unless it's possible that Ripper blades may have something that fits into this thing, because it's such a nice hilt. I would say that there would have to be some adaptability in the community to accommodate it. But then again, I mean, the specificity of an LGT hilt kind of puts into a situation where who knows. Anyway, like I said, this does have an RGB-X standard smooth swing 9 sound font core. You've seen it a million times. It's ubiquitous in the community. But I will turn it on. You just hold the button. Apparently it was still on from I was doing demos earlier. So let's just get ourselves to the dark side sound font, because
Princess.
What other sound font would you use for this, really?
Gravesnark. The High Ground. The Count.
So as you can hear, it's just sort of the standard array.
The Fallen. The Dark Lord. The Dark Sword.
Okay, so we're on the Dark Sword. So the only thing I would say is, as I keep alluding to, I just watched his unboxing, Newtype Sith. He has the Xenopixel version. The great thing about Xenopixel is you can swap out the sound fonts on a Xenopixel, and you can customize it. It has gesture controls, and obviously it's a NeoPixel blade, so it lights up all the way to the end. And if you're so inclined, you can throw on whatever version of the Dark Saber sound font that you want. I'm not exactly sure whose version this is. It could be Kyberphonic K-Sith. I'm not entirely certain, but it sounds like this. And you got your blaster deflects, the lock up. So I can get the clashes to work. I think I'll avoid doing that. And if I can get this to work right, if you hold this for 3 seconds, there we go. You get your color changing ability, which just covers all the basic colors that you might want for this. Let's lock it in at a white. And to turn off the saber, you just hold this button down for about, maybe 10 or 12 seconds. What I usually do is I will turn the saber on, and I'll hold the button, and continue to hold the button for about, like I said, about 10 to 12 seconds. We'll go a little bit longer. All right. So that way, the next time you turn it on, you're already on the Dark Saber sound font zone. And that's it. So I will put a link to, I'll actually put a link probably to Dark Wolf Sabers. And I'll also put a link to Starlight Sabers, which is Newtype Sith is a affiliate of Starlight Sabers. Because he can actually sell you a version of this that he can actually custom weather the saber for you. This is obviously a pristine version, but this would look really great weathered. In fact, I'm considering sending it to Sebastian. Per Cody's suggestion, this is something that I might do. I'll actually also put a link to Cody's unboxing from Newtype Sith, and give him some love here. So anyway, this is the dark side version, the Dark Saber version 4, and again, it has the standard RGB-X core, and it is a phenomenal saber. It's really, really well made. It's almost shockingly well made. They really, I may rag on LGT from time to time during a live stream, but honestly, occasionally they put out a piece like this, and there's really nothing for it. I mean, it's just the most economical version that you can get of an iconic saber from The Mandalorian and from the Book of Boba Fett. And yeah, if this is your bag, then I say go for it. So anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, share if you're so inclined. And I know my videos have been few and far between, but hopefully when I do have a video come out, it'll be helpful. And hopefully you found this video helpful. So thank you for watching. May the Force be with you. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Have yourself a good day and take care.